All right. We back. Listen, we was experiencing some technical difficulties, but we're back. We're back live. Brother Scott, can you hear me?
I hear you. Can you hear me?
I can hear you, man. I can hear you. Listen, I want to introduce you again properly and give you the credit that's due to you. But listen, this is my main man, brother Ezra Scott. He was born and raised in Niagara Falls, New York. He is a former New York State Open class Golden Glove boxing champion. So he nice with the hands. Don't try it. Former city councilman of Niagara Falls, New York, serving from 2015 to 2019. He currently is the founder. He's the founder of and coordinator of the Niagara Falls Peacemakers. He is making some passionate waves in Western New York. He is improving Niagara Falls and the surrounding areas of the Western New York community. I would like to introduce to some and present to others none other than my friend, my brother, my man, Ezra Scott Jr.
Man,
Blessings to you, brother.
blessings to you as well. Again, man, it's a pleasure to be here, man. Thank you for that wonderful, wonderful introduction. And I can't wait until one day I get to introduce you, man. That was all, man. You've been all in for me, man. I appreciate that.
Man, you deserve that and more for all of the things that you're doing in our community, man. You making some waves. The best is yet to come for you. And I'm just grateful, man. I know you're a busy man, but I'm just grateful that you would stop by here and just talk to us just for a little bit, man. So I'm so appreciative to you, man.
Man, nah, like I said, I'm grateful to be here, man. I see you doing great things, man, and thank you for picking up that call, man. I remember meeting you where at CCRN, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Network, man, and man, you've been a blessing. But man, one thing I never forget is that conversation that we had, as far as you talking about ministry and just really wanting to pour in and
Yes,
connect
sir.
with one another and build, man, and
Yes.
amazing to see people actually following their vision and the dreams that they have, man. So, man, salute to you, because a lot of people talk about it, but they're not actually, getting after it and being about it. So, again, salute. I
Well, I
appreciate it.
appreciate you, man. Definitely, I appreciate you. Listen, man, we got a lot to cover on tonight. A lot is going on. A lot of things is happening in our world, man.
Yeah.
I want to get your perspective as a young man, as a man that's in these streets, doing the work out here in the community. Making the time to make an impact. But first of all, I want to ask and I want people to know for those who don't know who you are, I want to allow you to introduce yourself to the world and tell people who Ezra P. Scott Jr. is and what is his testimony.
My testimony, first I like to, believe that I'm a humble man. A lot of
Absolutely.
folks may,
Yes.
had their opinions and whatnot, but I give glory to God, most importantly, man, because, he's
Yes,
kept
sir.
me throughout the years through many different experiences that I had. And I wouldn't be able to do half of what I do, an ounce of what I do
Yes, sir.
without him. But, man, my name is Ezra P. Scott Jr., born and raised in Niagara Falls, New York. I'm currently 35 years old today. My Aries, so
Yes,
Team
sir,
Aries, yeah,
man.
doing out there.
Today's your birthday?
It was just April 11th was my birthday, man.
Man, happy
Uh,
belated birthday,
Thank
man.
you very much. I appreciate it.
Wow, wow.
So yeah,
Man.
man, just turned 35. Just talking a little bit about, just my testimony. I think it really has to do with a lot of just overcoming adversities. I listened to a lot of stories my mother told me. I was born with ear infections, and man,
Wow.
I just really appreciate my mother because man, she's a strong Black woman. I'm gonna just say it just like that, a strong Black
Yes, sir.
woman. She's a community advocate. She's an advocate, and I think that's
Yeah.
where I get some of my nature from, because when I was born, I had my ear infections, and for the first few months, I came home. My mother said I was constantly crying, just wouldn't go to sleep until she took me to the doctor. The doctor said there was nothing wrong. So therefore, my mother was like, she's not just going to accept that answer. She took me to several different doctors to get a second opinion, and come to find out, I had gel in my ears. Those gel in
Mm.
my ears, they said that it if it was caught just a little bit later, it would have caused a severe speech impediment and also a severe learning disability. It has some impact, at early on in my life. But man, just to think about the impact it could have had if it wasn't for my mother being the strong woman that she is, Black woman,
Yes,
and
sir.
advocating for me at a young age. But growing up, I did have some delays, so kids used to pick on me a little bit, but that's what made me strong. That's what gave me the thick skin that I have.
Yes, sir.
And I overcame that, man. Overcame that to where now, I have an associate's degree, I have a bachelor's degree, I have an MBA, and also about to have a master's in education. So
Come on,
I'm the same man that they said was, going to have a severe learning disability.
Wow.
2009, I always remember this moment, hanging out with a buddy of mine over on Chippewa, just being young. And, I had drifted away, but came back and kind of find out he was getting at it with a couple guys. And I tried to break it up. One of the guys had a gun. My buddy got knocked out. He fell out, passed out. And I'm tussling with these three guys, one gun. And man, gun ended up being at my head, but I was able to fight myself out of the situation. Bullet just missed me. And I say that to say, man, that made me realize how much you have to cherish life, man. Every breath that you breathe, you know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Time. And we got to appreciate God. So it made me realize, man, I got to maximize my life and empty myself, man. So when I die, I'm not leaving no talents or gifts that God gave me, man. So that's a little bit about me. And I just say my testimony is just overcoming and just continuing to push forward. Always.
Bro, I did not know all that about you, man. I didn't realize that you went through all of that. My brother's name is Tim. He experienced ear infections, and they had to put tubes in his ears.
Okay.
So, and I know how crazy ear infections can be. I've never experienced one, but I've seen how, man, an ear infection will lay you out.
They're the worst, man. They're the worst, bro.
Man.
Now I had them bad when I was at a young age, but thank God I haven't had them in a long time. So, yeah, man. They're
wow.
But that's a little bit about me, man.
And I didn't realize that piece, man, as far as you having to go and fight through and battle through, delays and things of that nature, man. Man, to see where you are right now, you would never imagine that in a million years, man. That is powerful, bro. What a powerful testimony, man.
Man, I get at the God, like I said, man, he's covered me, he's carried me, through all the adversities. And another piece I didn't, talk about as far as my testimony is, 2017, after I got elected, was very fortunate to get elected as city councilman. But one of the things I learned is sometimes, we elevate, but our mind don't elevate with us. And at that time, I that was the case for me, still doing some of the same things that I was doing prior to, and ended up getting a DWI while I was in office. But I say that it built me, man. It built me because, it was a lot of there was a lot of, headline stories, things of that nature. But it really taught me about decision making and how destructive our decisions can be. Because there were certain aspirations that I had that, it delayed me, but that don't mean that it denied me, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
It made me realize, just how better I had to, how I had to improve as a person. And I say today, man, after overcoming that, that inspired me to go get my MBA and get my master's in education. And man, I just say I wouldn't take nothing back. I say it makes me the man I am, and I believe that I'm a stronger man today, from my
sir. That's powerful, man. Powerful. So many people see the glory, but they don't know the story, man. Man, it's not easy. I'm pretty sure, being in the limelight, people knowing you and having to battle and struggle with certain things that, the common person, people just look at it and say, oh, it's fine. But, being in the forefront, being a leader, man, leaders take a different type of hit that just a lay person doesn't take,
Man, man.
Yeah,
absolutely. I mean, even with the, like I said, the DWI, I'm not smiling, just thinking, taking it and being lighthearted about the situation. But like you said, that's a real fact right there as far as being in leadership. Like I said, I had my DWI, was, brought down to a DWAI, man. But, the way they had me out there, it was as if, man, I was some kingpin, as far as, dealing dope, or I may have murdered somebody. And then it's like, come to find out, I'm seeing some of my, people that I know that's getting DWIs, and it's just another day. You
Yeah,
know,
it's common. Yeah.
tracking paper, you know, but it made me realize again the platform that I was on. But also it did something else to me, man. You know, it made me realize the amount of people that was looking at me and seeing hope within me, you know,
Yes.
and
Yes.
for me
Yes.
to neglect that and be irresponsible with the way that they valued me, it made me understand the role that I play in my community and how to, again, I need to take it much more serious. So did a lot for me, man. But yeah, you know, when you step into leadership, you got to be ready for it.
Man, you
They
got to
say,
be ready.
to whom
You
much
got
is
to be
given,
ready.
much is required. You know, that's
Man,
not
you better preach.
that's
Better
not
talk that talk, man.
you gotta be ready for
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
it.
Listen, man, you are a community activist, man. What made you discover your passion for serving your community?
You know, what I would say is really been something that, you know, I was born into. You know, it was a seed that was in me. You know, my family is in the ministry. You know, my uncle's a
Okay.
bishop.
Yes,
I
sir.
have cousins that's pastors. My father's a minister as well. He sings, plays
Wow.
the guitar. Man, I ain't get the voice. The voice skipped me. The drums, but it skipped me, man. I'm upset. God knew not to do me that way.
Oh man.
But uh my family, man, a lot of my family are in the ministry, man, and pouring into the community and servants. That's what they are. So servanthood was something that was just already kind of bred in me. My name is Ezra. You know, for
Yes,
those that
sir.
don't know, Ezra in the Hebrew means helper. So I
Come
just
on.
feel like it's part of my life. You know, I'm a God-fearing man. I'm about trying to please God, and I feel like He's giving me the platform to serve the community, and that's what
Mm,
He wants of me. So I'm gonna do it to the best of my ability, you know, to make sure I
yes,
please
sir.
God. You know, be a living sacrifice. I think that's the, you know, the way to put it, man. So,
Yes,
um,
sir.
it's whatever pleases God, man. And you know, I just really, you know, love serving and you know, again, you know, trying to improve the quality of lives of people around me.
Well, you're certainly doing that, man. You're certainly doing that. We all have certain things that God has given us, man, and I must say that you have found that, like you found your niche, man, in community. You know what I mean? Like certain people are still trying to discover who they are, but you found that, man. You know your lane and you stick in it, and that's what makes you so powerful, man.
You know what, man, and just talking about that, man. Like you said, a lot of people only know your glory. They don't know your story, but they only know the glory, right?
Yeah.
So, you know, going a little bit deeper into that, like I said, I always had a vision of me being, you know, I wanted to be a change maker. I wanted to have an impact in this world, but never really knew exactly how. But one thing I'll definitely say to people, man, is when people speak something to you, don't just discount it, right? Because that's
Yeah.
what happened to me. I remember it was back in 2014, and just having conversations with a mentor of mine in real estate.
Hmm.
I was going to city council meetings and I was talking to her. She was going to mentor me, and I was on the verge to get ready to leave. I was going to go down to Florida, and at
Wow.
that time I was doing some modeling, acting, things of that nature. So I'm like, man, I'm gonna
Yeah.
just get after and go down here and see what happens. So I was
Right.
going to leave, but then she's like, no, stay here. So I stayed because she was like, I'll mentor you in real estate. Then maybe 2 weeks later, one day she was like, you should run for city council, and I'm like,
Yeah.
council, like, I can't. I'm not gonna do city council. At the time, I was always you know, I was a jock. I was a college athlete, so I never really worked like a long-term job and never been a
Gotcha.
supervisor or manager. So I'm like, how would I be a city councilman if I've never even been a manager? Like, I don't have the resume to do something like that. So I
Right.
discounted it, but then I caught myself. I said, whoa, hold on. Sometimes God can be using people to speak through them.
Mm.
You.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
prayed on it. I said, you know what? I'm not gonna say no. I'm gonna pray on it. And I prayed. I said I'll start to fast. And it was crazy.
Wow.
15 minutes later, after I prayed and I went to City Hall, just after that, I was getting ready to walk into City Council, and the chairman of the City Council and one of his colleagues, they see me, and I ain't never speak to them at this time. He was like,
Man.
we was just talking to you, he was just talking about you. I'm like, what's up? He's like, we're trying to find a position for you in City Hall. And I was like,
Wow.
really? So I'm just like, man, like somebody was just asking me about running for City Council. I never did it. I almost said no. And then I got to send me a sign. And then the
Wow.
person that speaks to me is the chairman of the city council. He says, "Yo, we trying to find a position for you." So I'm like, okay, maybe God telling me something. And just
Yes, sir.
went by and just kept, you know, signals just kept coming to me. And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go with it. I'm gonna walk in
Yeah.
faith, not by sight. I don't
Yeah.
necessarily see how I'm gonna do it, but I'm gonna give my, you know, put all my faith in God and go after it. So
Man.
that's a little bit more, you know, how that happened, man.
That's powerful, man. That's powerful. You know, it it's tough when like you got to do something and you just put yourself out there. That is faith, man. And
Yeah,
that's a faith walk sometime, man. And it's scary,
yeah,
but God definitely takes you by the hand and he leads and guides you to make sure that you need to do what you got to do and that
absolutely.
you're successful. And man, you have been, man, you
Thank
definitely have been. Let me
you.
let me ask you, man, what has been your greatest success in serving the community?
My greatest success, kind of like this, man. Again, like I really feel like God has His hand on my life, and I say that to say I don't think that I've succeeded. I've succeeded in many things, but I don't think that I've reached my greatest success yet.
Wow.
As far as what I believe God can do in my life, He's still working on me, and I believe that there's much more out there for me. But I also want to say that I wouldn't be able to do many of the things if it wasn't for those around me. As far as
Yes, sir.
peacemakers that I have in my support system.
Yeah.
But one simple thing that I say, or not simple, but just getting elected, I feel like that was
Man.
a great thing right there in Niagara Falls, because looking at the history of Niagara Falls, there's only been four African Americans that have been elected to citywide office. So our council
Wow.
members in Niagara Falls are citywide; they're not by district. So
Okay.
I was the fourth one, the youngest African American elected, and I say that that's important, especially when it comes to serving the
Wow.
community, because as much as some people are against politics, it's important to be at the table, because they say if
Yes,
you're not at the table and you're on the menu, you got to be there with the decision makers, and if not, it's going to be a lot of decisions being made, a lot of things that's taking place that you just sitting back watching happen,
yeah.
and you really have no say. I also say the peacemakers. Blessed
Yes.
are the peacemakers. That's something that's faith based.
Yes.
We don't preach and we don't shove religion down anybody, but I'll say the peacemakers was one of my initiatives while I was on the city council. And shout out to Pastor Giles, who started the Buffalo Peacemakers. I
Yeah.
reached out to him. We connected. I asked him for his support and mentorship with starting the Niagara Falls chapter. We was out here. We did some great work. And about
Wow.
2.5 years in, Lockport, the city of Lockport, reached out, and they wanted to start a chapter. So, having discussions with the county DA, Carolyn Watasic, Mayor Michelle Roman, and also working with, Paula Holiday out there and
Yes, sir.
several others, we got the Lockport chapter started. And now, recently connecting with Krista Garland, which is a school board member, and her husband, Dennis Garland, we ended up starting the North Tonawanda chapter of Peacemakers.
That's
So
what's
now,
up, man. Wow. That's powerful.
yeah, we got Peacemakers, and Pastor Giles just recently started the umbrella of the Western New York Peacemakers, because now, we got Buffalo covered, and now we got Niagara County covered. So, hey, let's do it. Western New
That
York.
is amazing.
I said
That is
that's
amazing.
one of my best things, because it's really about empowering the residents. It's not about the leader per se or the
Yeah.
person at the top, but how can we empower the residents, because that's where the real work is going to get done. The people.
Absolutely. 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 Man, that's powerful, man. That's powerful. So with your greatest success, man, you've also had some challenges, I'm pretty sure.
Absolutely.
And I'm curious to know what were those challenges? What are those challenges?
Man, something, you know what? It's nothing. Never take things personal.
Yes.
That's the biggest
Yes.
challenge. A lot of
You
times,
speaking to me on that, bro. That's good. That's good.
yeah,
Yeah.
never take things personal. I think that, when we're on our path as far as achieving the success and the things that we want to do, one of the first things that can really stop us is us getting into our emotions with people attacking us, people saying different comments. But what we have to realize is a lot of times it's not us. It's
Yeah.
not us that's the problem. A lot of times it might be something that's going on in that person's life,
That's
that
right.
conflict, and therefore
Yes.
that leads them to lashing out on you, or,
Yes.
or or saying, "Oh, you can't do it because I couldn't do it." So again,
Absolutely.
I never
Absolutely.
take nothing personal. I hear what they got to say, and I keep it moving. I don't let emotions get to me. I say remaining true to myself. That's been one of the challenges, because as a young black man, right,
Mm-hmm.
being elected in Niagara Falls, winning with over 1,200 votes, I
Mm-hmm.
ended up becoming a threat. I became a
Yes.
threat to a lot of people. Some
Yes.
people are like, "Oh, he's about to run for mayor soon." So it's an extreme threat.
Yeah.
But again, you got a target on your back, and then you find yourself where you just getting it from every angle. You know, everybody's coming at you.
Right.
You know, you're not too corporate or professional or white enough. You're not too black. You're not black enough. You're not sweet enough. You know, too young. You're not old enough. So you just got a lot of critiques, a lot of criticism that's coming. So again, I say never take things personal. You just keep that relationship with God. You stay true to yourself. You know what your purpose is, and you just stay eyes forward and, you know, get it done.
That's good, man.
That was my biggest challenge, man, because once you got that core, that foundation, ain't nothing stopping you.
Man, oh man. You know, man, you kicking so much truth and wisdom here, brother. You know, man, you are so right, man. You know, I think that's one of mankind's biggest challenges is worrying about what people think about them and you know why people's opinions matter. Yes, they do matter, but to a certain degree. You know what I'm saying? Like at the end of the day, I'm gonna keep on stepping, and you know that's what it's all about, man. That's what it's all about. You know, and so that is amazing, man. I appreciate that, man. That's great wisdom. You've been a council, like you said, you were a councilman for 4 years.
Yeah.
Not 40 years. Oh man, no, you're a councilman for 4 years of the Niagara Falls Council, and I just like to know, man, because I know the political game can be a rough game to get into. Is very very cutthroat. It's a lot of things to contend with. My question is, why are politics necessary, and how do we use politics as an advantage to gain a great impact within our community?
I mean, like I kind of said earlier, if you're not at the table, then you're on the menu. Again, on the menu, you're getting served. I think it's really important to be at the table. A lot of times people are complaining about the decisions that's being made, and that's because, you know what, you might not have went out and voted, or you're not organized enough to get the person that you wanted to be in office, because it's the people that's in office that's making decisions for you. Those are the people, especially on a local level. I want to make sure I emphasize that. A lot of people, when they talk about politics and they talk about being discouraged with it, they really only focus on the presidential election, right? Right. Yes, the presidential, election, it has an impact on you. We be getting these stimulus checks, they coming from the president, right?
Yeah.
So that's a beautiful thing. But local politics are the most important politics when it comes to government, right? I say local politics because it's your city councilmen that are going to be voting on your taxes. The decisions that they make determines whether your taxes rise or they decrease.
Yeah.
Which end up taking money out of your pocket. So I'm sure that people want more money in their pocket. So therefore, understand that politics, business, and money, it's all intertwined. It's all intertwined. It boggles my mind when I hear people that talk about, oh, well, I don't want to do business. I mean, politics, but you know what? I'm into business. I'm an entrepreneur. Well, guess what? There's a decision. There's a political decision or a piece of legislation that you get pushed through. And therefore now you can't even do business no more. For how many years could people not, be in the marijuana business? But now, legislation just passed a week or two ago, and now all of a sudden, people are able to get into the marijuana business.
Oh yeah.
That's politics.
Wow.
Stokes for being able to push that legislation through. But that's just an example of why I say politics is very necessary. It's decisions that's being made, it's legislations that's being pushed through that impact our daily lives, and also will impact your bottom line, which is your dollar, your pocket.
Absolutely.
As far as how do people get involved, I think it's just really some basic things. I really want to emphasize the local side of things. Attending city council meetings, attending your county legislature meetings, attending your school board meetings. These are where decisions are being made that impact you, that also impact your kids' lives. Joining your local party committee. When I say your local party committee, I'm talking about whether you're Democrat, joining your local city Democratic committee, or your Republican committee, or whichever party you are, because that's the committee that determines who's the endorsed candidate for whichever election is up for, for election that year. And the value of that, when you talk about who's going to be endorsed, the political science of it is that on average, whoever's the endorsed candidate, they're going to get 20% of the vote. Because the average voter, when it comes to 20% on average are blind voters, which means when you get endorsed, your name is going to be on the ballot. You're going to get a perfect position, right? You're the endorsed candidate. And most people, 20% of people that vote, they don't even check into who that candidate is, what his platform or her platform is, what they're about. They just look and say, oh, you're a Republican, you're a Democrat, or you're independent, I'm just voting for that person. That's 20% of the vote right there.
Wow, right off the muscle, huh? Right. That's interesting. I've never known that.
Yeah, on average. So getting on your local committee. I say also educating your community, the residents, about what local issues are coming up, what they can do about it, informing them, because a lot of people tend to not know when the city council meeting is going on. They don't even know. They don't know about what political issues are going on, because a lot of people don't read the newspaper nowadays. A lot of people are not looking at the news online and things of that nature. So informing people, and there's easy ways to do it, because you don't have to pay for the media now. You could just do something like this on StreamYard, right? Like how we do. You can go online, live on Facebook, and it's accessible, so very cost effective. So it's a lot of different ways we can begin to mobilize people and educate them. And then also I say one other thing is learning about the duties of the different offices, learning about what the city councilmen do, learn about what your school board member does and your county legislator and all the other positions, because a lot of times people are trying to get things done, or they're reaching out to people to get something done, but that person is not necessarily their role. But if you know what their role is, their function is, now you can say, okay, I'm gonna call this person to get this done, and you're gonna see it get executed. So I just say really just informing yourself and educating yourself about the process, and then also what the roles of government are. And my last thing I say, Malcolm X, he has a speech called The Ballad of the Bullet.
Come on, that was my wife's favorite one right there. Yeah,
man. Yeah, I love when I heard that, man, because it's real. Some people talk about it again. Forget politics. Okay, forget politics. How you gonna get change? You gonna choose the bullet? I don't think you're gonna get too far with the bullet, But like Malcolm X said, you can choose the ballot. You can outthink. You can be smart. You can begin to organize and mobilize. You don't have to just give out your vote to people who aren't actually serving you. You can hold those people accountable. You can create a voting block. And then you know what? If you're not going to do this or XYZ, then we're not supporting you. We're going to support the candidate that is going to get things done. And then you can hold them accountable. So those are the things that I think about as far as how do we, first of all, understand the necessity of politics, but then also how do we organize to be able to take advantage? It's about becoming more politically mature.
Man, you said a mouthful in that, man. I'm gonna have to go back and take some notes from this, man, because really, we as Black people don't know the significance behind politics and why it's important to get involved with politics, man. We kind of shun away from it. We kind of say, hey, that's not for me. But it is for us. It's what we need in order to mobilize and move forward. So man, you right, man. We definitely got to do better in that area, man. One of the questions I wanted to ask you, man, is how do we address now? Like I said, you in the community a lot, man. I see you out here, giving away food, giving away clothes, doing your part, man. My question to you, man, is how do we address the wealth gap and the issue of poverty within our communities, man?
So, like I said, I'm completing my master's in education. So I really believe in the importance of it, and that's what I'll say: education. There's a quote by Kofi Annan. I hope I'm pronouncing his name correct, but Kofi. He says,
I know what you're talking about, Kofi. Yeah.
He says, knowledge is power. Information is liberating. Education is the premise of progress in every society and every family. So I start with education, and I also speak on rebuilding our family structure as well, because that's where it all starts at, in the home. And I think again, we have to become more mental. It's a lot of opportunities that have been taken from us. I remember my basketball coach, he often said when we was on the road, and I'm speaking, I guess, as an African American, because we talk about some of the, the barriers that we face, right?
Absolutely.
But the mentality that I come with is, I'll never forget my coach always saying, "Look, we on the road. The reality is it's 7 versus 5, right?
Mm.
5 of us as players playing against the other 5 players, but sometimes the opposite team they had 2 more players for them, the 2 refs that was not
Yes.
officiating on our behalf.
That's
And
so true.
sometimes life not fair, but guess what? We just got to go harder. You know what I'm saying?
That's right.
We gotta go
That's
harder,
right.
we got to adapt, and we got
Yes.
to think. We got to use our
Yes.
mind.
Yes.
So I just go into, kind of what like my man Meek Mill said one time. He says, "Yo, now I move with aggression. Use my mind as a weapon.
Come on.
Chances I never given. They took them like interceptions, right?" And he's talking
Wow.
about, just changing his mindset, looking at life different and coming at things from a different route. So it's a lot of things that we typically do, being closed-minded, but we got to think larger. And ain't nothing stopping us if we use this right here. So I say education is key in using our mind.
Yes, 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 yes. You're so right about that, man. So right about that. Listen, you are the founder of the Niagara Falls Peacemakers, and shout out to Reverend Giles. On in the Buffalo area. But
Absolutely.
I know that it was something to get the Peacemakers in Niagara Falls to organize to make sure that you had people in place to address the needs of Niagara Falls. I know on a regular basis you see and deal with a lot. I would like to know from you, how do we as a community break the cycle of generational curses and of violence? It's a lot of killings going on in Buffalo alone, and I know pretty much in Niagara Falls, you guys experience the same things, a lot of violence and things of that nature. How do we break this cycle, man?
Oh man, yeah, man, it's been some unfortunate times, especially with everything going on, the racial tensions last year, COVID hit. Unfortunately, in Niagara Falls, we had our the highest rate of homicides last year.
Man,
There's
man.
definitely a lot of work that we need to get done. But the first thing I say is going to God. Prayer.
Yes,
Gotta
yes,
continue to do that. But I'm also a person that don't believe in just praying. Prayer
yes.
without action or faith without works is dead, right?
Come on,
A lot
talk
of
it.
people that's always praying, but they're not putting the action behind it. So I believe in prayer, but I also believe about getting out into the community and teaching people how to have love for themselves.
Yes.
If they have more love for themselves, then they have more love for their brothers within
Mm,
the community. And I think that that's what we really need to begin to tackle as far as educating people and help them understanding their value, their worth, and then also addressing mental health, because a lot of the
yes.
that's taking place is really stemming from a lot of mental illnesses or a lot of traumas that people have gone through. And it's really about us taking time and just listening to one another, letting people know that, yo, I'm here for you. I love you.
Yeah.
Some
Yeah.
people never even heard that word,
Yes. You're right. You're
from
right.
some man, some rough houses, man, some rough
Yeah.
homes. So
Yeah.
we think about this about, like I said, praying, putting God out there, God first, but not only doing that, but putting action, but also loving one another and addressing
Absolutely.
mental health issues.
Wow. 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 We don't talk about the mental health problem in our community, man, but it is an unspoken problem, man.
Hmm.
And man, we gotta push people to see psychologists.
Right.
We gotta push people to see and seek counsel, man, because we got a lot of deep seated, rooted issues, man, that we fail to address, and they just pop up. And we wonder why we are so violent, is because we have not addressed a lot of those rooted, deep seated issues. So I'm so pleased that you stated, man, that psychological mental health piece is a major problem. And you so right about that, man. So right about that.
Absolutely, man. I'm glad that
Yeah.
we agree. I'm glad that we.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Hey,
sir.
listen, and listen, if you ever got any counter thoughts, or man, please share it, man, because I'm always
Oh,
No.
No, man. Hey, how could two walk together unless they be agreed? We together, brother. I'm in agreement with you on that, man. For real.
Thank you, man. Thank you,
Yes,
man.
yes.
So,
Listen, man. I want to ask you this, man. This is a very sensitive question because we're seeing a lot, man. We see the verdict of the George Floyd case came out this week. We've seen, the 15-year-old young lady in Ohio being shot. We've seen, the 20-year-old being killed by a 26-year veteran when she thought it was a taser, and she said and she shot the man with the gun. So we dealing as black people, we're dealing with a lot of things, man.
yeah.
My question is, as a black man, um how how is it that we as black men can be better involved in our community, and what would you teach our black people about the importance of how to respond to the police authorities?
Mm.
It's a 2-for-1 question.
Okay.
That's a lot
Hear
there.
that question one more time. Let me hear that first part, that first question one more time. I want to make sure I get all of this.
Yes, sir. So as black men, how do we involve ourselves into the community? Because you're doing the work, man. You
Mhm.
you out there, you engage, you've been doing it for some time now. How
Mhm.
do we involve ourselves in the community, and what do we teach our black people on how to respond to authorities?
Yeah. Man. So first, I just say, it's really not. Sometimes we overthink things, and we have to really look for the low hanging fruit, right? Because it doesn't
That's
have to
good.
be anything immaculate. Um, all great things have small beginnings.
Yes,
So I
sir.
think it's really about strength in numbers. I think it's really about us just connecting as men and just getting out there in the community. I mean, something just as simple as us 10, 15 of us, 20 of us getting together and just walking the streets.
Yes.
That right there, the presence, the
Mm-hmm.
sight of it,
Yes.
that right there alone will have a huge impact, especially when it comes to our young men and women that's in these streets in the community that's walking. It's two situations that I just read out. The situation you just said about the 15-year-old young lady. I was
Mm-hmm.
looking at comments, and I seen somebody talking about how the officer came, he shot her, right?
Mm-hmm.
Problem, problem.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying
Mm-hmm.
not going into the whole right or wrong thing, but it's always you want to look at some of the roots, right?
Yes.
Heard
Yes.
I talk about like where was the men at that even why was people videoing,
Right.
watching the situation happen. But the thing that stuck out to me again and again, I'm not talking about what was right or wrong. I'm just talking about what
Mm-hmm.
I read.
Right.
It was amazing because I seen somebody also say the men should have been there. The men that was around, they should have just stepped in as the men that they should have been and separated those women.
Yes, sir.
Um,
Yes, sir.
that right there shows you the influence and the power that we have, as
Wow.
black men as well.
Wow.
Um, it was a situation where a young man was just stabbed, unfortunately. God bless his soul. And I want to keep the other young men in prayers, because when we have these deaths, man, we lose two people. One man that
Yes.
went on to, with our father, and another man that's getting locked up, which is very unfortunate. Um,
Absolutely.
I was listening to some of the women, the ladies speak at the prayer visual, and they just began emphasizing the fact of how we don't have enough of our men in the household, or we don't
Mm.
have enough of our men in the young men's life. And
Yes.
again, we sometimes get into this myth where they talk about black men aren't present, but that
Yes.
is a myth. That is
Yes. Yes.
because
Right.
some numbers. I'm like, let me give you some numbers. Like I was looking at something that said the CDC, right? The
Mm-hmm.
CDC said that 71.5% of non-Hispanic or black youth are born to unmarried women, right?
Wow.
That's a
Wow.
crazy number. It is a crazy number.
Wow.
They said 29.3% of whites are born to unmarried women. But sometimes
Hmm.
numbers don't always tell the whole story because it's a guy named John Leves. He wrote an article and his numbers showed that 59.5% of black fathers live with their children, but
Interesting.
but they're not married. So
Mm.
that's when you get into that whole number of 71.5% of youth are born to unmarried women. So they
Wow.
never married, but that doesn't mean that there's not a black man in that house. You know, it
Gotcha.
doesn't mean that
Gotcha.
there's not a black man that's around as well. But I say that all to say there is still much more that we can do, and I
Hmm.
think that it just shows us of how important we are and
Yes, sir.
how valuable we are to our community. And
Yeah.
like you said, we spoke on earlier, to whom much is given, much is required. So we just need to embrace that and be the man that God has poured into us to be, and
Yes.
be the men that our community and our youth need us to be. So I just really think it's about taking action and just coming together. It doesn't have to be nothing huge, no big, expensive effort. Just walk in the community is as simple as it can be.
That's excellent, man, because I think a lot of times we think that we do need to do this extravagant work, and it doesn't have to be extravagant. It's the presence, like you're saying, man, like just being there and showing people like we about business out here.
Right, right.
We're not going to continue to allow this to happen
Yeah,
to for you to do it to each other.
right.
So you're so right about it, man. You're
Yeah,
so right about it.
yeah. And then and talking about your question as far as how to address the authorities, that's a
Mhm.
tricky question because I know
Yes.
some people think feel different ways. But I'm gonna just go straight to the root, and I'm gonna go to self. I always
Hmm.
talk about self reflection. As a leader, when I'm dealing with different people and different situations go sour and go left. No matter what, even if I felt that was their fault, always reflect on me and say, what could I have done better, right?
Yes. Yes.
Because I can't control them, but I can control me. I can control my actions,
Yeah.
right? Like they say, life is 10% of what happens to you and
Mm.
90% of how you react to it. So
Wow.
my word that I would say to these young men is
Mhm.
Proverbs 18:21.
Come
Life
on.
and death is in the power of the tongue. So it's all about a lot about how you respond, you know.
Yes.
Um, you can really bring calm to a situation with wise words that you choose. But with
Hmm.
foolish words, you can really, you know, blow it out of control. Um,
Absolutely.
so
Absolutely.
again, we have some poor actions that, that have been taking place, through history,
Right.
through
Right.
police and community relations. But I would just say Proverbs 18:21, just control
Sure.
yourself and watch how you act and you respond. And we pray that God covers them in those situations.
Man, that's good, man. That's excellent. That's excellent. That is amazing, man. You're right though. This thing called the tongue is a deadly thing, man. And people get, like you was talking earlier, people get into their emotions,
Mhm.
based upon what was said, how it was said, and it's all about having self-control, having willpower, understanding that at the end of the day, man, I want the authorities to live and I gotta live.
Right,
So, in order for me to live, I gotta hold my tongue. And if I'm wrong, I'll go back and I'll put a lawsuit through,
right, right.
because you can't sue the cops,
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
so, these are some of the things, me and my best friend this week, he's a police officer, and we were kind of in a debate about this situation with the 15-year-old. And I'm again, how could two walk together unless they be agreed? I'm on your side, bro. Like I personally don't feel that what they did was justifiable. I don't feel that them shooting this girl, because she was defending herself, was justifiable. And this man got right out the car and just started shooting. and
Yeah,
and I just feel like, man, this we got to do better. The officers, the authorities have to do better. They have to have more better training. They have to know how to deal with people, man. You know what I'm saying? And
yeah,
I understand that she was in the act, but what was the situations behind it? What was the circumstance? And I love what you said about black men and men being there. There wasn't a man, from what I saw around there. There wasn't a black man in that area.
yeah,
So, man, that manly presence would have held that person back and said, "Listen, let's gain our composure and let's figure this out." You so right about that, man. So
absolutely.
right about that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So yeah, it's a lot, man. But
it
we gotta
is.
definitely learn from these situations, not let her
Yes,
go in vain. That's what I
yes,
say.
yes. And the issue is that at the end of the day, we got dead people, man. People that's passed away from senseless situations, man. Things that could have gone a different direction, you know. And so I this the reason for this platform is to try to sort some of this stuff out, man, and try to address it within our community because, man, we just got to do better. The authorities got to do better as well, you know.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And one of the places that I'm passionate about, and I'm pretty sure yourself, because you come from a very church based family, is the black church.
Yeah.
And my question to you is, man, because I know you're in partnership with a lot of the black churches within Niagara Falls. How does the black church address the needs of our community in a better way, man?
Man, big question. First, I want to say, salute to, our pastors, our
Yes,
bishops, our evangelists,
absolutely.
pay homage to them.
Yes,
Like we was touching on earlier, anytime that you step into leadership, it's a great responsibility, right?
it
Uh,
is.
but the reality also is that uh, there is a greater level of accountability placed on you also as a leader, right?
Absolutely.
And with that comes criticism, right? But as a
Yes.
leader, that's something that you have to embrace. As a city councilman, although I always feel like, damn, why these people always on me? Why they
Yeah.
always this ain't enough? It ain't enough. Ain't enough. Hey, guess what? I stepped into that. That's
Come
something
on.
God gave me. That He blessed me.
Absolutely.
I have to embrace it.
Yeah.
So I said it to say, I give my salute to them. But we get into the accountability piece of it, right?
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
I just really think that, as far as our church, man, they have to always be willing to engage our community, right?
Mm.
I
Mm.
think that, our church needs to not just be focused on serving the church members, right? The
Yes.
church members that are paying tithes,
Come on.
but to realize that the church is not the building, it's
Yes.
people, right?
Yes.
It's the people
Absolutely.
that's out in the community,
That's
so
right.
getting outside of the four walls and going out into the highways and byways and getting out there and reaching people, getting
Yes.
out there to the community and speaking the gospel to them. I have a friend, Dante and Martha Lamage, they were speaking to me and they said, listen, um, our lives as individuals, Ezra Scott, Jackie, and the people that's
Mm.
out here, the people that are part of the body of
Yeah.
Christ,
Yeah.
we are the only Bible that some people in the world will read. They will
Absolutely.
pick up a Bible and read it, but our lives, us being a light out there and being an example, that's the only Bible that they will see, which also emphasize the task that we have to be that
Mm.
example and get out there to actually preach the gospel and show them the way.
That's it, man.
Um, I also look at the life of Nat Turner. I'm
Mm.
not gonna say we need to go out there and start slaying people and doing massacres, right? But
Right.
I went out to the African Heritage. I went out to the African Museum that's out there in DC.
Wow.
I watched that movie, Birth of a Nation. If
Yes.
people have not seen it, I suggest you go out there. You go look it up and watch it. It was very
Yes.
informative. I seen in there how the slave master, his wife, when she brought Nat in, right? She took him into
Mm.
the household. They went into the library. First thing he tried to do was pick up a book, a regular book,
Mm.
a Bible, and she took that book from him and said, "No, this is your book. This is the book you read." And it was a Bible. So
Wow.
he didn't learn it. So it was intentional. It was intentional that they wanted this black man to learn the Bible. Why? Because the slave masters wanted the slaves to use the Bible to keep slaves humble and submissive, right? To keep.
Yes. Yes.
But what I found was very interesting as you watch the movie, but also when I
Mm.
went down to DC and I went to the museum, I also seen, I believe it was the Bible that Nat Turner, used. And I learned
Mm.
that he was a pastor. And they
Wow.
talk about how, yes, they used the Bible for them to keep the slaves submissive and humble, but he also utilized his religion, he also utilized him being a pastor as a
Mm-hmm.
vehicle to mobilize people and to
Mm.
and to liberate them. And
Yes.
that's, you have what you have, the history.
Wow. Wow.
I think that pastors are very powerful.
Yes.
Much respect for our pastors. They have much influence. They have people that come to church every Sunday faithfully
Yes,
that listen
sir.
to their word. I think really we have to take advantage. They have to take advantage of that,
Yeah.
not try to separate the state and church as much as they often try to do. I think
Hmm.
there's definitely it's intertwined. I believe
Absolutely.
it is. And I
Hmm.
believe our churches can advocate around community issues because it's impacting their people. So I just say churches constantly staying engaged and also utilizing that platform that they have, um, to organize and mobilize
Yes, sir.
around the issues that's going to better their communities.
Yes, yes. That's excellent, man. That's excellent. That's excellent. The church is such a powerful vehicle to reach people, man. We've seen it back in the 60s. We've seen it, even to this day, how we see, most of the churches are doing some great things. But I believe, man, and that we have room for improvement. And like you said, church is not the building.
All right.
Church is the people.
All
And
right.
so we got to be able to empower people. We got to be able to make sure that the people are they have what they need.
Yep.
So man, you're right on it, man. Um, my next question to you, man, is how do we reach our next generation, and what legacy would you like to leave to the next generation and to your children?
Um, so how do we reach? One, I think is about, we have to constantly evolve, right?
Hmm.
Um,
Hmm.
Times are changing.
Hmm.
The youth are interested in things that we are into. They're not interested in things that we may find interesting. We have to
Right.
be mindful and cognitive of that. I think it's about us stepping outside of our comfort zone and meeting
Hmm.
them where they are at.
Yes.
Um, I think it's about, finding new approaches. I heard one person say one time, they say sometimes you got to put the medicine in the candy, right?
Mm. Mm. That's
So,
good.
maybe we gotta, utilize some of the beats that they're listening to on the hip hop, on the, in the rock world, but
Right.
use that beat and put a positive message with it. I don't know, we got to figure out what catches their attention,
Yes.
not trying to lecture them, but trying to pour little gems and knowledge into them, so that we can build that relationship and begin to connect with them. Um,
Absolutely.
I think that we also have to stay grounded. We got to stay connected to what's going on as well, so we know what's relevant, what's trending. Because I love Pastor Giles. I remember our first training with the Peacemakers. He talked about how, listen, if you get in my car, don't be surprised if you hear rap music in my car. No, I'm a pastor, but don't be surprised. He was like, because it's important though. He said it's
Right.
important for me to listen to, you know, um, King Von or
Yes,
whoever
sir.
else, right? Because I
Yeah.
gotta know what they talking about. I gotta know the key words, the slang,
Mm.
what they saying.
Mm.
Because if
Mm.
not, when I'm out here in the community and I'm out here working, it's gonna be things going way over my head that I don't even
Wow.
understand because I'm so disconnected. So
Wow.
again, I think that it's about not being so traditional, being unorthodox a little bit, and just thinking of different approaches, but also meeting them where they are, understanding them. But most importantly,
Mm.
understanding we got two ears and one mouth for a reason, and listen
Come
twice
on.
we speak. So we should start listening to these youth because too often they have authority figures that's preaching to them or talking to them, telling them what they need to do, rather than listening and just being an open air for them.
Man, you said so much in there, man. You know, uh, you're right, man. We gotta understand where they're coming from. And a lot of us don't because we're so caught up in our stuff. Um and we so busy trying to preach to them that we're not listening to what they're saying. We're not listening to and it's sometimes they don't say it and they're trying to say it, but they don't know how to say it, you
Right,
know?
right.
And so, man, you are hitting the nail on the head on tonight, brother. Man, you are so right, man. You are so right. Um,
I got good people around me, man. Iron sharpens iron, so
yes, sir.
you know.
Wow, that's awesome, man. That's awesome. Listen, um, we're winding down, man. I got two more questions, and I'm gonna let you go because I know you got a whole lot of other stuff to do because you're a busy man. But listen, my question to you, man, and I ask this everybody that comes on this platform is what do you define as greatness?
I mean, I think greatness, success, it varies person to person. I think it's relative, but bottom line, I think greatness is really whatever talents God put into you.
Hmm.
You when it comes time for you to leave this earth, that you die empty of those talents, that you
Yes,
utilize
sir.
everything that He gave you, and
Yeah,
don't leave nothing, nothing here. Uh,
yeah,
I think that you just be the best you that you can be. Don't worry
yes,
about
sir.
what this person doing or that person is doing. Worry about you.
Yeah,
How are you doing and utilizing all your abilities to the best of your, to the best that you can.
that's
Yeah.
awesome, man. That's awesome. That's a wonderful definition, man. And you're right. We gotta focus on what God has given us to do instead of trying to figure out whatever everybody else is doing. That's one of the issues with Facebook, man. Is that it gets people so nosy in other people's business, and then they don't have time to be doing what they need to be doing. You
Right,
know,
right. Because you watch other people. You know,
man. Because all it is really is a platform. It's a platform for notification. You know
right.
what I'm saying? And man, some people put the wrong notification on there. Some people put the right notification. But you gotta do it with purpose in mind. And you're right, man. You're so right. Yes.
Absolutely. Man. Thank you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. This is my last question to you, man. It's a lot of people that's listening. It's a lot of people that might watch this a little bit later on. A lot of people going through, like you said, COVID. A lot of people are dying now. Even not from COVID, but just death in general, man. What would you say to people that's listening that have no hope? And what would you say to them as far as addressing their community of hopelessness?
Um, so the first thing, Proverbs. I'm preaching tonight, I guess a
Come
little.
on, talk that talk, man.
Proverbs 23:7 says, "As a man thinketh in his heart, so is he.
Yes,
So he is."
yes,
So again, like we said earlier, it starts mental, right? Um, and faith without works is dead.
yeah.
So people have to realize, right? We got to stop always looking outside of ourselves for change and
Hmm.
realize that you are the change.
Yes,
You are the hope. Bring
yes.
and together we can be the change makers.
Come
Um,
on.
somebody has to step up, and I
Yeah,
think really it's that simple, man. Because too often we're looking around. Okay, who's gonna do it? Who's gonna do it? It just takes that first step. You know, they say it's
absolutely,
a journey. It starts with one.
man.
So that's what I say. I don't think it has to be anything complicated along, all drawn out, but just know that it starts in the mind, starts with faith,
Yes,
it starts with you, it
yes.
starts with me. That's what I
That's
say.
what's up. That's what's up. I love that, man. I love that. Ladies and gentlemen, I introduce to you your newest mayor of Niagara Falls, New York,
Yeah,
Brother Ezra Scott Jr. Yes, sir. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Hey, we got to speak those things into existence, man.
yeah,
Listen. I want to thank you, man, for taking the time to come by here. Like I said, I know you're a very, very busy man. You, man, given us so much knowledge and wisdom on tonight. And I'm so appreciative for you just taking the time to do this with me, man. If people are listening and they want to get a hold to you, they want you to come and speak for them, or want to just want to reach out to you, how do they do so?
man, simple. You see my name right here. You can hit me up, contact me on Gmail. So Ezra, Ezra, P is in Paul, Scott, SCOTTJR, the number 4, NF is in Niagara Falls at gmail.com. It's a little long. I need to change it at some point, but you know what I'm
That's,
saying, man.
say it
Um,
one more time. Say it one more time.
and Ezra, Ezra, P is in Paul, Scott, SCOTTJR, the digit number 4, NF as in Niagara Falls at gmail.com. So Ezra P.
There you
Scott
go.
Jr. 4NF at gmail.com. So you can email me, and man, I love to build. Come talk. However, I'm around. I'm here.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And he will come. Believe me, man. He is a humble man. I've reached out to him on multiple occasions to do trainings for us and things of that nature, and the man is just phenomenal, man. So I'm just so grateful, man, for you. Blessings to you, blessings to your family, man. Keep doing the good work that you're doing, and I salute you on tonight, man.
Man, again, I salute you too, man. Look at you,
Yes,
man.
sir.
Amazing to see you following your dreams and your vision, man. So keep
Yes,
at
sir.
it, man. And God is using
Appreciate it.
you in amazing ways. So thank you for what you do.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Again, Ezra Scott Jr., your next mayor of Niagara Falls, New York. We just thankful for him on tonight. Please, man, like and share this on tonight. Like and share. Get this word out. He says so much on tonight, and man, we need people to hear this within our community. So please get the word out. Blessings to everybody on tonight. Keep up the hope. God is with us. If God is for us, who can be against us? So
Absolutely.
blessings to everybody, man. Much love to you, brother. And I'm gonna be in touch with you, man.
Absolutely. God bless,
Yes,
man.
sir.
Talk to you.
Blessings to you. All right.